Hello and welcome to Coldsmoking's Digital Cookery School. I'm Taran. In this video we'll be looking at how you can make your own delicious sausages from scratch. We'll be looking at all aspects of sausage making, from selecting the right cuts of meat, mincing and grinding, selecting the ingredients. We'll look at the seasonings, stuffing them into casings, and of course which casings to use. As an extra, at the end of this video I've provided you with a short class in linking sausages like they do at the butchers. Don't forget, if you like this video and found it interesting, please leave us your comments, give us a massive thumbs up and subscribe for more of the same. And don't forget to click on the bell if you want to be notified when a new video becomes available. Now, sit back and relax while we get sausage making.
Right, let's get into it. This is my mincer. We've got a lovely big bowl here underneath, and today we're going to be making a sage and onion sausage. I'm going to run you through all the ingredients now. We're going to use here an 8mm plate for this particular grind. It's our initial grind, so it's quite coarse. We will go through it with a slightly finer plate, a 5mm plate. That'll give us a nice fine grind, help develop that texture within the sausage. Now, the meat we're going to be using is pork shoulder. Pork shoulder is usually around about 80-20 lean to fat. We diced it. It makes a very, very nice sausage. It's very tasty meat. The casings we're using are lamb's casings, and these particular ones are 19mm in diameter, and they give a really nice little sort of chipolata, ideal for your pigs in blankets if you're going to do these for Christmas. They're absolutely brilliant, all natural. We've got some chilled water here, and that's to help us rehydrate some of our dry ingredients. And getting on to some of the main ingredients here, we've got the salt, which is ordinary table salt. You can use sea salt if you want to. We've got some sage and pepper here, and I've hidden the pepper under the sage so you can't see it. We've got some dried kibbled onions, odd name, but there you go. And we're using a gluten-free rusk here. This is made from dried yellow split pea. Absolutely brilliant. So if you're making these for someone who's gluten intolerant, brilliant. We've also got some sugar here. Always works really nicely with pork sausages. A little bit of sugar adds a really nice bit of sweetness, and that's all our ingredients. Right, we're going to be putting all this ingredients, once it's minced, through this 3-litre sausage stuffer. Nice little machine here, and we're going to be using the smallest nozzle. So the first thing we need to do is to get all this into the mincer, and away we go. Okay, the meat is now going into the mincer, and you can see it's coming out in nice granular chunks. Now that's an 8mm mincing plate that it's going through. It goes through really easily, and this mincer can do 120 kilos of meat in an hour, which is pretty good. Now at the moment the meat's pretty flaky. When we put it through a second time, you notice the difference in texture. So we'll just mince this 4 kilos first. Right, here we go through a second time, and you'll see when the meat comes out this time, it's a lot stringier. It's holding together more. And this shows us that we're beginning to develop a little bit of texture in this meat, which is a good thing. We want to bind the meat together in what we call the primary bind. Once we get all the herbs and spices in there, we want this to hold together. So when we stuff it, the sausage has some good texture, and you can see this coming out really quite nicely. Well, that's 4 kilos run through. We do have a little bit of residual mince in here, which we don't want to waste, so we'll take the plate off and we'll harvest all that meat because we don't want to waste it. There is some sinew wound around the auger which we won't use, and we'll get rid of that. The remainder of this meat's already been minced, so we can pop that straight in the bowl, and that will go into our sausages. We don't want to waste that. Right, ready for a clean up. Okay, we're going to add the onions to the bowl. To that we'll add the gluten-free rusk and we're going to mix this with water to get them hydrated nicely before we add them to the meat. So in goes the water. Try and get this all nice and evenly. We don't want any dry clumps in there. We'll come back to this in a short while once it's all done, and once we've got the herbs and spices in the meat, we'll add this. It's time to add the salt, and we're going to put this in over the top, keep it nice and even across the surface of the meat. We're then going to add the sugar and the herbs, and the reason we do this first before we put any wet ingredients in is so that we can turn all the meat over with the dry ingredients in it to get it incorporated nicely before we start mixing it proper. We can put the dry ingredients in afterwards, but first of all we're going to start moving this around with our hand, lifting it up and turning it, as you can see here. And this is really important because what we want to do is try and get all that salt, all that pepper and sage and sugar throughout the whole mix entirely, without any sort of clean bits of meat getting away without, not being seasoned. Now we're going to start mixing this, and you'll see I've speeded it up a bit here. It will start to change colour, and the meat will begin to bind together and come together in a really nice way, and this is a good sign that you've got a primary bind. Right, we're going to put in the pea flake now. That's all been hydrated. We're going to get this all mixed together, and it's a good old workout this, so get the old biceps working, and you want to incorporate all that so it's a nice even texture. And what we're trying to do by all this mixing is to activate a meat protein called myosin. In doing so, you'll see that the meat's beginning to stick together, and this is really important because this is what gives us the structure in the sausage, and that's looking reasonably okay. Needs a little bit more of a workout, so we'll get the old biceps going again, and we're just checking it now to see that it sticks to the glove, and that's always a good sign. So we just take a chunk of that meat, tear a little bit off, hold it up, open your fingers, and if that sticks to your glove like that just did, we're ready. Now, one of the really important things when you make sausages, once you've mixed everything together, is to taste a little bit. So grab a minute amount, or a burger if you're feeling a bit hungry, and begin to fry it up. And the whole purpose behind this is to check that you've got the balance of the seasonings right. You want to make sure that it's not too salty, that if you put chilies or spice in it, that it's not too spicy. And you want to fry this off, make it look really nice, and taste it basically. And this is it. This is where you do this work before you put the meat into the skins, and if you do need to adjust the mixture, then that's exactly what you do. And this is looking really good at the moment, sizzling nicely, just like a good sausage should. And we're just going to cut a little piece of this off and try it. And we're just looking to see that the balance of those flavours is just right.
Oh, very nice. Oh, yes.
Right, that's all done, and now we're on to stuffing the mixture into the machine, and we want to get all the air out as best as we can. So we throw that meat in there, and then we're pressing it down flat with the back of our hand just to make sure that we expel any air. And I've speeded this up a little for you so that you can see me doing this. Air out of the mixture as best we can, pressing that all the way down. We don't want to fill the machine up too far. We'll leave it around about 25mm or an inch from the top, and that will be ready to go into the sausage machine. You can see that the open end there is just full, ready to burst, and that's all being loaded in. Just press the piston up to the meat and screw the nozzle on, and now we're using lamb's casings here. These are quite narrow, about 19mm in diameter. The casings we're using are all natural and they go on quite easily. We've been soaking them for around about half an hour. And now we're ready to expel the air out of the nozzle just by turning the handle. The meat will be coming down through the nozzle and you'll see it poke out in a second. And then we just squeeze the air out there, fold the tip under, no need to tie a knot here, and we can start producing sausages. Now when you're making sausages, you want to apply just a little bit of pressure between your fingers and the nozzle, just to allow the meat to push the skin off the end of the nozzle and ensure that you get a good filling. Now I've speeded this bit up for you here, and you can see those casings filling nicely. We're reaching the end of that casing, so we'll just get to the end, pinch, squeeze and pull, get rid of those sausages, and we'll just start with a brand new casing. And we'll just whiz a load more of those sausages out onto the table. There we go, easy as that. Right, linking. Okay, the fun bit, linking. We've got a long end here. Now that's the end which we finished on, and the short end is the one we started on. We're going to start with the short end, and the first thing we do is we work out how long a sausage we want, and when we've determined that, we just pinch it with our fingers to create an artificial link, if you like, and then we fold it in half, measure the first one down, and we pinch a second one of equal length, and there you can see we've got 2 sausages already made. We then hold it by the second link and pinch a third sausage, and then when we've got those 2, we twist that round, poke it back on itself. It's a bit like casting on in knitting, so anyone good at knitting and casting on, they can knit with sausages. So to make the first link, we fold the running end of the sausages over the loop we made, pull it through, and when we pull it through, we want to pull through about 2 sausages worth. Be quite generous, try and make them all the same length. Squeeze at the bottom, squeeze at the top, and then we fold that over again. Okay, so if you're not confident about how this is all going, you can always go back and have a look at the video again. So we make that pinch at the bottom, pinch at the top, and then we fold over the top, pinch a new link in, fold the sausage through and pull another 2 sausages through, and we do the same again, and you carry on like this for as much sausage as you have. And once you get into the swing of it, it's quite straightforward. So you make the link at the bottom, pinch at the top of the loop, fold over and through, pull another 2 sausages through, link at the bottom, link at the top, and pull it through again. And then when you get to the end, luckily in this case we've got 2 sausages there, make a little link at the top, and that is that. There is another method of linking sausages which is a lot easier. Let me show you here. So we've just got them on the bench. Literally measure off the sausages that you want and twist them together. When you've got about 3, lay them down, lay the line of sausages against the ones you've already made so that you can get the measurements right, and then literally just twist the links in like you see me do here in the video. And then you can just lay them next to each other like so and pack them away ready in the freezer, or they can go straight in the pan. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Here's the recipe. We scale everything in our recipes down to a kilo of meat. Sorry, if you work in Imperial, I'm sure you can do the calculations. Well, happy sausage making. I hope you found the video informative and enjoyable, and don't forget to leave us your comments and subscribe. Tick that bell for notification of new videos, and we'll catch you soon on the next one.